Action News has been investigating and exposing how Michigan State University officials spent big on lavish trips, meals, and limousines at a time when students were being forced to pay higher tuition.
But tonight our investigation is changing how money is being spent at MSU. 7 Action News investigator Ross Jones exposed all the waste, and tonight he joins us to tell us, well, I guess more importantly, what's being done to stop it now.
Stephen Carolyn, some MSU officials didn't even know how some of their colleagues were spending school money until we told them. So now, in wake of what we reported, the Spartan spending spree is coming to an end. Trustee Faylene Owen took a 10-day European jaunt to see an MSU basketball game, meet with students, and hold alumni dinners. Her trip included stays in a $1,300 a night hotel, $3,000 in limousines, and another $3,000 in stipends for her and her husband, who she brought along. All of that spending, we've learned, should never have happened. Former trustee Melanie Foster took a trip with her husband, too, this one to Africa to meet with alumni and potential students. Her trip racked up about $20,000 in expenses.
You've got me on tape.
Indeed.
No, I'm not. I really don't want to do a tape.
Foster reimbursed MSU for the cost of her husband's trip once she learned we got a copy of her bills. But according to Board of Trustees President Joel Ferguson, Foster's trip never should have happened in the first place. After she lost a re-election bid in 2012, Ferguson says Foster moved her trip up by 2 months so she could take it before her term expired. But Ferguson says he told her not to take the lame duck trip, since what she learned in Africa would no longer benefit MSU. Foster went anyway. After seeing our report, we're told many trustees at MSU were furious over the costs, and that prompted this new spending directive. No more stipends or limousines, an end to costly hotels too, and now all trustee trips need to be vetted and approved by the full board. The new directive bans lame duck trips like Foster's too. When I reached her this week and asked if she was told to cancel that trip, she hung up the phone.
I felt all my life that I'm a steward of public resources, and I want to make sure that every dollar we spend is spent well.
We promised viewers we were looking into the University of Michigan spending too. U of M was much slower to provide their records, but when they finally did show up, well, there wasn't much news in them.
You know, we're very frugal. We try to be frugal.
Don't get me wrong, U of M did spend a lot of money over the last year, sometimes on fancy dinners for regents like a New Year's Eve bash that cost nearly $2,500. But for the most part, the school's spending was unremarkable. The records we reviewed showed the biggest single travel expense took place last year when the school's 8 regents had a retreat in California. Along with President Mary Sue Coleman, they spent 4 days meeting with donors and holding strategy sessions. Spouses of MSU officials often accompany them on these kinds of trips, but U of M spouses stayed home.
We had a very high-level official from Google coming to talk about online education. So I was able to accomplish in a day and a half of meetings something that I could never have accomplished here in Michigan.
President Coleman said she personally planned that California trip, and costs were kept down by hosting fundraising events at donors' homes. The 4-day trip cost just over $27,000. That's about as much as one MSU trustee spent on her trip to Europe, where she brought her husband.
Wow, so U of M spending called unremarkable, but under these new rules at MSU, can spouses still go along on these trips?
That's about the only thing that didn't change as a result of our story. They're still going to let you bring your husband or wife. They say it's an important part of introducing people to the university. Spouses are important for that, so.
But that's at MSU, not at U of M.
U of M does it too.
Oh, they do?
They do it too.